All right, let's get ready to go to our friend Aaron, our reporter on the ground in Israel. Guys, get him on board if you would, because there may be a war about to break out with Lebanon in intensity. They're shooting a lot of rockets over today, about 15 minutes of nonstop rockets going into Israel. Many left the Shabbat table to head for the bunkers. And so he's going to come and join us because he is saying it could happen this weekend. He's not saying it will. He's saying, but they are heavily being warned about what could happen this weekend. Remember, Aaron is brought to you by our foundation, wvwfoundation.com. We send him love offerings rather often because we love him so much, and also because a workman is worthy of his hire. He was a tour guide, licensed tour guide. He is a licensed tour guide, but that's kind of shut down with all this going on. So he was broadcasting as a reporter for us, but we were doing that to promote his tour business, and he would give us reports. Well, the tour business isn't happening anymore, so I said, look, it's only right that we compensate you for your time as well as help you through this period. And we're so glad we were able to do that because he gives us amazing reports multiple times a week, and he joins us now live out of Israel. Aaron, welcome to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Brannon. Great to be with you.
Okay, so you and I have been texting during my radio show today. We were texting, and I had noticed my phone app was going off with the red alert, so there was a lot of rockets coming in, one after the other. And so I checked online. Sure enough, the Jerusalem Post, others reporting about 15 minutes of solid rockets coming in. I texted you and said, man, are you okay over there? And you said, yeah, I'm fine, but everyone is on edge. And then you said that you guys are getting word that on Saturday morning, Israel time, you could expect an attack all along your coastal cities. Tell me about this, please, Aaron.
Well, yeah, we are on edge. This is something has been building up for months and months and even years. And it seems that we're right at the threshold right now. Which way it's going to turn, Brannon, these next few days, weeks, where it's all going to unfold. There are reports saying that there is still an outside chance that this will de-escalate, and that will only come through a political solution, that Hezbollah agree to pull back 5 miles, 20 miles, 30 miles, however miles our military, our leaders are asking for, to make our residents in the north feel safe. They can't go back to their homes. And let me remind the viewers that 80 to 100,000 residents have been living out of their homes for the last 8.5 months. And they're
ready to go home. They want to go home.
They're ready to go home. Brannon, yesterday I bumped into a lady. I've seen her a few times around, and I was pretty sure she was one of these displaced people. And sure enough, she told me she lives in Kiryat Shmona in the north, and she's been here for 9 months. And I asked her, I said, how have you coped? How do you function on a daily basis? And she said it's been a process. She said she's at the place now where she's accepted, the word acceptance, that she's accepted that this is the situation for now. She said, the moment I start to get my hopes up, or I start to put pressure on the government, or I start to let my emotions get the better of me, she says, I just fall apart. So she said her way of coping with it is just accepting it to give her peace for herself. But not everyone is like that. There are people that are more proactive. They're more, how can we say, alpha. They want to do something about it. They're out on the streets. They're protesting. They're condemning our government. They're pressuring our military. Do something. So it's many are fed up with it. And so our government, our military, they've said, rightly so, our patience has run dry. So we're on that threshold. Our military, our Air Force in particular, as well as our Navy and our tanks, they're right on the border of Lebanon, which is only about an hour from where I'm sitting. our Air Force in particular, they are taking out a lot of terrorists. They are striking infrastructure. They are finding ammunition dumps. By the way, I'm sure you heard this, Brannon, but about a week ago, it was uncovered under the Beirut airport, a mass amount of cache of weapons and explosives hidden under the airport. Now, do you know what that means? That means that airport now, technically, legally, is no longer a civilian site. It is now a military site, and we have every right legally to attack that site. And I'm wondering, why don't we do it? But I really trust in our military, in our strategists, because this is about strategy and planning and thinking about the retaliation and all of that. So I'm trusting that they are calculating the situation. They're giving Hezbollah every last chance. But at the same time, as I say, they are attacking, they are hitting. But also what we've been reporting over the last week or two is that there are thousands and thousands of people joining the forces of Hezbollah. And this is a big worry for us. This means that we're not only under attack from 7 different fronts, but instead of it backing down, although down in the Gaza, it looks like we're about to finish that off, but it looks like up here in the north at least, that there are new forces joining in, trying to make our lives unbearable. So it's a real challenge, and we are on edge.
All right,
and
so let's talk about what it means. If according to your text to me while I was on radio today, that you could be hit at your coastal towns. So tell me what you guys, when you say hit at your coastal towns, what does that mean? Are we talking about rockets coming in?
You asked me that, and I totally didn't answer that. I apologize. Yeah.
That's all right.
So really what that means now, I even asked myself what that means. Obviously, they don't have boats and frigates and on the Mediterranean because there's no chance that they'll get any near there. So it won't be from the sea. It will be from the air. Now, Hezbollah, they don't have an air force, but this is where we're in a new era now. What
drones?
They lack, well, exactly what they lack in airplanes, they now have power from the sky in the guise of drones. Now, these drones are Iranian drones. Some of them actually are made in North Korea. Very sophisticated drones, suicide drones. Some of them are filled with bombs that they are made to explode over certain areas, and then they cause massive fires, which is what we've been seeing up in the north in some of our towns. So they obviously, and of course, then they've got precision missiles, cruise missiles. We saw that from the Iranians in April, where they fired over 350 missiles at us. And we know Hezbollah have got at least the same quality of strike force. So this is what we're talking about, that they, from the reports, the military intelligence that I've been reading and hearing, that there's not a place in Israel that they cannot attack precisionally. This is very concerning. So, and not just ones or twos, we're talking potentially in the not only the hundreds, but in the actual thousands. And this is our big concern, because our Iron Domes and our Arrow missile defense systems and the Patriot systems as well, and the David Sling, we have 5 or 6 different defense systems. We can only probably intercept up to maybe 2,500, 3,000 a day maximum, but not for very long. When we know that they've got an arsenal of potentially at least up to 200,000, they could easily send 5, 6, 7, 8,000 a day, and it would barely dent their stockpile. So alarm bells are there, but yeah, they could pinpoint our coastal cities. And these coastal cities are very highly populated. Haifa is the third largest populated city in the country. Tel Aviv, you've got over 1 million in the central Tel Aviv, but with all the peripheral neighborhoods, you've probably got at least 2.5 million people there. Then you got other cities like Rosh HaNikra, you've got Herzliya, you've got Netanya. These are major cities, and they're all prepared. They're all prepared with water, with electricity issues. I talked last night about some people are telling us to think about getting satellite cell phones. In fact, I saw an article today saying be prepared for 1 to 3 days without electricity. I've also been informed that there are underground supermarkets being set up with plenty of food and basic commodities, children, baby, nappies, diapers, things like that, creams, medicine for elderly, all of that. Then you've got the fire department. They are on high alert. You've got doctors, nurses, hospitals. You've got, and this was a hard one for me to read, you've got our cemeteries up in the north are being told to prepare for potential mass burial. What's that? What kind of a headline is that you want to read? So we are preparing for the worst. However, we are optimists. This week's Torah portion reading is about the spies. It's about the 12 spies that were sent out. They all saw the same thing, the giants, the fortified cities, a land that eats its inhabitants. But there was Joshua, there was Caleb. They saw with the eyes of the Lord, and they said, with God, we are able. And this is what we need. We need spirit. We need courage. We may take a pounding. We may suffer losses. That's the cost of war, but we are not going to give up. We are not going to back down. And that's what the name Joshua and Caleb, the name Joshua, of course, Yehoshua or Yeshua means salvation. And Caleb, interestingly, the name Caleb means a dog. And you know, when a dog is fighting for its life or it's hungry and it needs food, it will, if it's got that alpha nature, it will fight to the death. And that's what we need, a spirit of Joshua and Caleb.
Indeed you do. Let me ask you about the Olympics coming up. What are you hearing about your Jewish athletes as this Olympics approaches this summer, I think in Paris, correct?
Yes, correct. Paris.
Okay. Before you answer that question, let me go back to 1972 to lay a foundation. Palestinian terrorists. Most Americans have forgotten this. And many of them by now, of course, don't remember. They were too small. They were either not born or they were too small to remember that this happened. But in 1972, listen to what happened. Here is just a couple clips I want to play. Here we go.